ಆತ್ಮೀಯ ದ್ವಿತೀಯ PUC ಎಲ್ಲ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳೇ, ನಾನು ಅಪ್ಲೋಡ್ ಮಾಡುವ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅಭ್ಯಾಸದ ವಿಡಿಯೋಗಳು ಪರೀಕ್ಷಾ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ಎಲ್ಲ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳಿಗೂ ತುಂಬ ಉಪಯೋಗಕರವಾಗಿವೆ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ನಾನು ಹಾಕುವ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅಭ್ಯಾಸದ ವಿಡಿಯೋಗಳು ತಮಗೆ ತಲುಪಲು GST ಟ್ಯುಟೋರಿಯಲ್ಸ್ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಚಾನಲನ್ನು ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಲೈಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹಾಗೂ ತಪ್ಪದೇ ಬೆಲ್ ಗಂಟೆಯನ್ನು ಒತ್ತಿ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.
Hello second PUC students. Today we are going through the commerce subject called business studies. Today we will be analyzing the model question paper with answers. Alright, let's move with section C. Please note that each of these questions cost 4 marks each. Alright, okay, now let's move with the 25th question. That is, explain the principles of management contributed by Taylor. Answer: meaning, knowing exactly what you want men to do and seeing that they do it in the best and cheapest way. A. Science, not rule of thumb. Taylor believed in scientific management to increase efficiency. It includes scientific selection of workers, placement and training, upgradation of machineries, payment of wages according to work, etc. Point B. Harmony, not discord. There should be a good relationship between management and workers. Both must realize each other's importance. The management and workers must share their thoughts, which is called mental revolution. Point C. Cooperation, non-individualism. There should be complete cooperation between the labor and the management instead of individualism. Next point. Development of each and every person to his or her greatest efficiency and prosperity. Industrial efficiency depends on quality of workers. Scientific management encourages development of workers. It begins with scientific selection of workers, training and assigning the work. 26th question. Explain any 4 points to explain how important the understanding of business environment for managers is. Answer. Point 1. It enables the firm to identify opportunities and getting the first mover advantage. Early identification of opportunities helps an enterprise to be the first to exploit them instead of losing them to competitors. Point 2. It helps the firm to identify threats and early warnings signals. Environmental awareness can be managed to identify various threats on time and serve as an early warning. Point 3. It helps in tapping useful resources. A business enterprise assembles various resources called inputs like finance, machine, raw material, power, and water labor, etc. Fourth point. It helps in adjusting the rapid changes. Today's business environment is getting increasingly dynamic where changes are taken place. Must understand and examine the environment and develop suitable course of action. Let's move to the next question. The 27th question says, explain any four limitations of planning. Answer. Limitation of planning are as follows. Point 1. Planning leads to rigidity. A well-defined plan is a mode with specific goals to achieve within a time limit. This may lead to rigidity. Alright. Point 2. Planning may not work in a dynamic environment. Business environment is dynamic in nature. If there is any unexpected change in economic, social or political environment, the plan may not work. Third point. Planning is time consuming. The planning process takes time that there is not much time left for its implementation. Point 4. Planning involves huge costs. The plans needed to be put into action which involves huge costs. Sometimes the cost of it becomes more than its benefits. Fifth point. Planning does not guarantee for success. Planning is predicting the future which must be properly implemented. It needs to be put into action or else it becomes meaningless. 28th question. Explain any four types of tests used for selection of employees. Answer. Intelligence tests. This is used to measure the level of intelligence quotient of an individual. 2. Aptitude test. It is a measure of individual's potential for learning new skills. Third point. Personality tests. Personality tests provide clues to a person's emotions, her reactions, maturity, and value system, etc. Fourth point. Trait tests. These tests measure the existing skills of the individual. They measure the level of knowledge and proficiency in the area of professional or technical training. 29th one. Question. Explain briefly the steps involved in controlling process. Answer. Controlling process. Controlling is a systematic process involving the following steps. Step 1. Setting performance standards. The first step in controlling process is setting upon performance standards. Standards are the criteria against which actual performance would be measured. Standards can be set in both quantitative as well as qualitative terms. Step 2. Measurement of actual performance. Once performance standards are set, the next step is measurement of actual performance. Performance should be measured in an objective and reliable manner. There are several techniques for measurement of performance. These include personal observation, sample checking, performance reports, etc. Step 3. Comparing actual performance with standards. This step involves comparison of actual performance with the standard. Such comparison will reveal the deviation between actual and desired results. Comparison becomes easier when standards are set in quantitative terms. Step 4. Analyzing deviations. Some deviations in performance can be expected in all activities. It is therefore important to determine the acceptable range of deviations. Step 5. Taking corrective action. The final step in controlling process is taking corrective action. No corrective action is required when the deviations are within acceptable limits. 30th question. Briefly explain any four factors which affect dividend decision of company. Answer: amount of earnings. Dividends are paid out of current and past earnings. Therefore, earnings is a major determinant of the decision about dividend. Fifth, stability of earnings. Other things remaining the same, a company having stable earning is in a better position to declare higher dividends. Third point, stability of dividends. Companies generally follow a policy of stabilizing dividends per share. The increment in dividends is generally made when there is a confidence that their earning potential has gone up and not just the earning of the current year. In other words, dividend per share is not altered if the change in earning is small or seen to be temporary in nature. 31st question. Explain any four factors affecting the work capital requirement of a business. Answer: factors affecting the work capital requirements are: A. Nature of business. The basic nature of a business influences the amount of working capital requirement. A trading organization usually needs a smaller amount of working capital compared to a manufacturing organization. Point B. Scale of operations. For organizations which operate on a higher scale of operations, the quantum of inventory and debtors required is generally high. Such organizations therefore require large amount of working capital as compared to the organizations which operate on a lower scale. Point C. Business cycle. Different phases of business cycles affect the requirement of working capital by a firm. In case of a boom, the sales as well as production are largely to be larger and therefore larger amount of working capital is required. Point D, section seasonal factors. Most most business have some seasonality in their operations. In peak season, because of their higher level of activity, large amount of working capital is required. As against this, the level of activity as well as the requirement for working capital will be lower during the lean season. Point 32. Explain the four factors affecting fixation of price of a product. Answer. Factors affecting price determination are product cost. One of the most important factor affecting price of a product or service is its cost. This includes the cost of producing, distributing, and selling the product. The cost sets the minimum level or the floor price at which the product may be sold. Point 2. The utility and demand. While the product costs set the lower limits of price, the utility provided by the product and intensity of demand of the buyer sets the upper limit of price which a buyer would be prepared to pay. Point 3. Extent of competition in the market. Between the lower limit and the upper limit, where would the price settle down? This is affected by the nature and degree of competition. Fourth point. Government and legal regulations. In order to protect the interest of public against unfair practices in the field of price fixation, in price fixing, government can intervene and regulate the price of commodities. Government can declare a product as an essential product and regulate its price. 33rd question. Explain the two advantages and two limitations of advertising. Answer. Merits of advertising. The main thing. Point 1. Mass reach. Advertising is a medium through which a large number of people can be reached out over a vast geographical area. For example, an advertisement message placed in a national daily reaches lakhs of its subscribers. Point 2. Enhancing customer satisfaction confidence. Advertising creates confidence amongst the prospective buyers as well as advertising creates confidence among prospective buyers as they feel most comfortable and assured about the product quality and hence more satisfied. Limitations of advertising. The following are the major limitations of advertising as a tool of promotion. Point 1. Less forceful. Advertising is an interpersonal form of communication. It is less forceful than the personal selling as there is no compulsion on the prospects to pay attention to the message. Point 2. Inflexibility. Advertising is less flexible as the message is standardized and is not tailor made to the requirements of the different customer groups towards this direction and helping consumers in redressal of the grievance. 34 point. State any four responsibilities of consumers while purchasing, using and consuming goods and services. Answer. Point 1. Be aware about various goods and services available in the market so that an intelligent and wise choice can be made. Point 2. Buy only standardized goods as they provide quality assurance. Thus, look for ISO mark on electrical goods, FPO mark on food products, hallmark on jewelry, etc. Point 3. Read labels carefully so as to have information about prices, net weight, manufacturing and expiry dates, etc. Fourth point. Assert yourself to ensure that you get a fair deal. Alright, so this completes the model question paper section C. Please go through it once again and all the best for your exams. Thank you.